Okay, welcome to the show, Working with Wood. We're still working on the hot dog cart, the New York style. You can see we got it painted. I'll go through it here in a minute once I get explain what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so here's the plywood top, the steam tables, the cooler. So what we got to do today is we got to cut the hole for the steam tables and cut the hole for the cooler. So I picked up a cooler. Now this is I had an idea what type of cooler I wanted. I wanted one where the lid flopped open, where the lid was secured to the cooler so it stayed there. This handle, we're going to remove the handle. Another thing I looked for was a deeper cooler, instead of being take up quite a bit of area, like one with a big footprint, one that's a little smaller but deeper. So, and another thing about this cooler, the cooler is square. A lot of coolers, they start here at the bottom and then they go wide at the top. So this one here is pretty square. And what's going to happen when we cut the hole for this, it's got a little spot right here. I'll hold it up this way so you can see it. Right here, that when we drop this cooler down into the top of the cart, it's going to hold. So what we'll do is we'll drop it down. We'll put caulking around it so it's got more of a finished look. And at the bottom, maybe we'll build something to support the cooler. It's not going to be very heavy. It's just going to hold hot dogs, maybe some condiments like your maybe sauces or stuff like that. So it's not going to hold cans of pop, for example. The cans of pop is going to be in a bigger cooler to the side of the cart. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to cut this. We're going to drop in our steam tables. We're going to drop in our cooler. Before we secure this to the top though, what we're going to do is we're going to finish that stove box. Now we have to lay, I've got to put some nailers in there and we have to lay plywood down. Then what we're going to do is we're going to completely tin the inside of that. So it's going to be underneath this. When you look down through the hole through the top of the cart, it's going to be completely tin. The stove is going to be secured to the cart, so it's not going to move around. And so that's what we're going to work on this show. We're going to cut the holes for the cooler, the holes for the steam table, and build the rest of the stove box. So anyway, what we'll do right now, I'll just pan the camera around. You can see what we've done. We got most of the painting done of the cart. We put some more supports in, not a lot, but we do have some things done. So anyway, let's get at it. Let's get this top cut and get the steam table and the cooler dropped in it. Okay, so we got the hole cut. What we're going to do is trim off the edges. Now we have to make it a little bigger because what's going to happen is there's going to be like an edging on this that's going to finish it along the edge. So it has to be a little bit bigger. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take it down over here, probably about maybe 1/8 of an inch roughly. So we'll just try a pan. See if it's going to fit. See, we got quite a bit of room there. I think maybe we'll just take another little bit off here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a straight edge here. We'll just use this piece of 2x2, and I'm just going to mark this out here. Now I can see by putting that straight edge on there and marking it out where I'm out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is cut that off. Okay, we got enough room now. I don't know if you can see that, but how the pan will float in there. Like I say, we're going to put an like a 90 on here, a stainless steel, just to put a finish edge on it once we lay the top on it, which is going to be metal. Anyway, let's just straighten this a little bit. Okay, there's the hole for the steam table. So we'll set this up here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get a drill and a bit. We're going to drill our starter holes. We're going to cut the hole for the cooler. So we marked our cooler out here. This, we're going to have to go a little bit bigger than what we have here, I'm afraid. But what we're going to do is going to be a starting point. What we're going to do is we're going to drill a couple of holes here, probably a hole in each corner, so we can get the saw in there to cut it out. Okay, so we got a hole cut in each corner. Now we'll put the jigsaw in and we'll cut this out. Okay, there's the hole started for the cooler. I'll just straighten it out here a little bit. Okay, here's our cooler installed and our steam tables. So now what's going to happen is we're going to put a top on this. We're going to put the trim around it. Then we'll drop this in We're not going to secure this in. We'll put caulking around this cooler once we have a finished product on the top. This here is going to come in now. It needs to be washed and stuff like that. The cooler, we can wipe it out. Like I say, it's not going to be holding pop or anything sticky or anything like that. So anyway, now what we're going to do is we got this in. Is we're going to work on installing the stove and all the tin work around it. We have to put tin around it so we don't catch the card on fire. So we'll be putting tin. We got to lay a floor for the stove to set on to bring it up. So the burners are about maybe an inch and a half below the pan. Then we're going to secure the stove down. Then right on top of the stove, we're going to lay tin. We're going to cut out the burners out of the tin. So when you look down from this area, from this way here, all you're going to see is the burners and all the inside of the stove box will be tin. Anyway, stay tuned. We're going to be right back, and we're going to be putting in the tin and putting in the stove. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to cut. We got to put some nailers in, so we can put the walls up inside the stove box so it's enclosed. So we need 4 pieces, 10 inches long. We're going to cut them out now here at the miter saw. Okay, here's our 4 pieces. We're going to put in the nailers. We're going to put them in now, and then we'll be cutting the plywood for the walls. Okay, there's our nailers installed. You really can't see them, but you can just see one, there it is right there, just sticking out from the painted piece of framing. And there's one over here you cannot see. But anyway, you'll see how they work once we start sheeting in the stove box. Okay, so we got our piece of stock measured. We're going to cut her off, and then we're going to install her. So we'll run the skill saw across her and cut it off. Okay, so there's the floor to our firebox in. You can see how that is. So what now we're going to do is secure that in. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a dry run. I'm going to put the stove in and the pans in to see what the level is, the distance from the pan, the bottom of the pan to the stove. So maybe we'll do that right now. So here's the stove. We'll set the stove in. Stove's going to go right there, just like that. Now we'll set the pan in. And we're perfect. We're absolutely perfect. The bottom of the pan and the stove is just, you couldn't ask for any better. So what we're going to do is we're going to secure that in, and then we're going to build the walls. We're going to make them out of 3/8 plywood, and then we're going to install the tin. So let's get at it. What we're using here to put these in. So what we're using to screw this floor down is we're using just 1-inch deck screws. No, 1.25 inch screws, sorry. So this is 3/4. We're going in, it'll be plenty to hold this in. Okay, so now we're going to measure for the back wall. So what we're looking at is 9.25 inches high, and we needed 31 and a half. So we'll cut that now. We're going to cut right here. Okay, so this is going to go in the back here. Okay, so you can see we got the back wall or a seam table in. So I had to put a couple of more nailers in to get this all to work. But before I put it in, I'm going to just put the top on and check out our steam table and see if our steam table is going to fit in. So let me grab the top. Yeah, there's no trouble with them fitting in. So I just had to put another couple of nailers in for the sides. So anyway, we'll install that back. Okay, so there's the back installed. I'm going to grab the planer. We got a planer over here. I'm going to run the planer across the top just to bring it flush with this, so when we lay our top on, we don't have a high spot. Okay, we got it planed down, so now we're going to do our sides, get them in, and then I hope we have enough time in this show to do some tin, but if not, we'll be doing the tin work next show. So anyway, our sides are 12¼ inches by 9. Okay, 9¼ by 12¼ . So 12¼ is here. Measure 12¼ this side. We'll get a straight edge. Okay, you can see we got the back wall in and the sides in on the and the floor of the stove box. So I'm going to put the top on just so you can see what it's going to look like. So there's the top on. So you can see where the cooler is going to go. That's the hole for the cooler, the big hole for the steam table, and then the stove is underneath. So she's looking really good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put some tin. We got to put tin all in that cavity there in that stove area where the screws and the drill is, and then we can install the stove. Anyway, we'll be at that in a second.